Hi, it's Chris, and I really want to just say a very, very, very great big thank you to all of our friends on Facebook, particularly all of those who left me birthday wishes, because over the weekend it was my birthday, and I guess it's what they call a milestone birthday, because I was 65 years old on Saturday, and I guess I'm officially retired now. I've got Susan still working, but it means I can put my feet up, just like Vincent, because he's laying here on the office chair, curled up asleep. It means I can curl up on the office chair and Susan will carry on working for another few years earning the money, which is fantastic. But is that a reality? No, of course it's not. It's quite funny. I was thinking back to when I got my first full-time job, which was, I was 17 years old and I went up to London and I got a job in Pall Mall as an accounts assistant. And I remember them telling me, you know, you go in for this sort of induction, you know, hour the first time you arrive. And I remember them saying to me, when you've done a year's service, you'll be eligible for what they called the final salary pension scheme. When you retire at age 65. Now that meant I would retire with a pension of 2/3 of my final salary. So, oh yeah, I mean at 17, do I really care? No, not at all. But when you get to 65, you start to think about these things and you think, wow, wouldn't it be great if you really had worked in that company from 17 years old to 65 years old and retired with a 2/3 pension, 2/3 salary pension scheme. Well, of course, as probably a lot of you know, final salary pension schemes, most of them have gone bust or be converted into schemes that basically pay out based on how much you paid in. So even though at the time it was a great idea, here we are 40 odd years later and that scheme probably doesn't exist anymore. But as you start to think about your own pension, and of course Susan and I have been self-employed for most of our working lives, and therefore, you know, life's a little bit more difficult, isn't it? A little bit more difficult in terms of saving for your pension. And if I think back to it, my grandparents are probably the last people, certainly I remember anyway, who actually had the true old money, or came through life with what I call the old money advice, which was, you know, working for 40 years, saving for your retirement for 40 odd years. And then when you get to 65, or 60 for a woman and 65 for a man as it was then, you actually do retire and you actually stop work. And I remember one of my grandfathers, my grandmother and grandfather used to live in South Wales, which is where I was born actually. But, you know, my grandfather, he was in the RAF, and then when he retired from there, he became a painter and decorator. And as far as I remember, my grandmother never worked. She always used to look after the children. And that's how life was. And at 65, he stopped work and they actually moved back up here to London because, you know, to be close to my mum and my dad. And that's the last time that I remember, because my dad, he had a business. He was running, he'd been in the dry cleaning industry for many, many years. And when he retired, if you like, he opened a little dry cleaning shop, had somebody run it for him. And because he wanted something to do, you know, life didn't stop at 65 for my dad. But he did enjoy his life and he enjoyed his retirement until unfortunately he died at age 70. But nowadays, what's retirement about today? It's not one of those places where you sort of come to a full stop and that's it. Like I said earlier, you know, I can put my feet up and Susan carry on working. That's not going to happen. And I don't want it to happen, you know, because life today for me, I'm 65 years old. Do I feel 65? Absolutely not. Do I feel any different to being 64? Absolutely not. Realistically, in my head, I'm still in my 30s. You know, that's what I feel. I'm still in my 30s. I've just got a bit more experience nowadays, you know, another 35 odd years experience. But what does that mean? Does that mean I'm going to stop work? No. Does it mean Susan and I are going to stop work? No. You know, we're very fortunate, I guess, that we found an alternative way to retire. Because if I go back to about 2005, so what was that? I was about 52 then. Susan and I realised that we ought to do something about our pension, because, as I say, we were self-employed and therefore hadn't put a lot aside. And so we looked at property as an investment to build our pension fund, and that worked for us for a couple of years. We went and learned how to do it properly, and you know, for a couple of years it was great until 2008, worldwide recession, boom, that went out the window. Now we've managed to survive some of it, which is really good, but it did cost us a lot of money, and so our pension fund is nowhere near what it should be. And of course, you know, with that worldwide recession, what's happened is, you know, bank interest rates are very low, investment returns are very low, property returns are very low. You know, there's nothing really there that, unless you've got a huge fund that's actually going to pay you a good income. You know, it depends on what you think is a good income, I guess, for you. But for Susan and I, you know, we've had a good income all of our lives. We've worked hard all of our lives, and we don't want to stop doing the things that we love to do, which is basically we love to travel around the world and teach and train people. It's an awesome life for us. It's what we really love doing. And you know, here, this is our book. We've in actual fact gone back to the old way. We've gone away from digital and we've gone to snail mail, postcards. Wherever we go in the world, we send ourselves a postcard. We get our friends in different parts of the world to send us postcards, and we send them postcards. It's fantastic. I mean, recently, end of October, we were in, where is it? Lake Tahoe. It's here somewhere. There it is. There's a picture there, Lake Tahoe, with our friends Don and Jill Viverka. We had a great day out running around Lake Tahoe. We went to Virginia City and saw the old gold rush and that. We had a fantastic time. But, you know, when I look at all of these things now, these are reminders of the things that we've done in the last few years. You know, this is fantastic. This was back in 2013, and we actually had a balloon ride over the, I can't think of Queen somebody or other, River Nile anyway. The special valley around the River Nile, and we went over there up in a balloon at sunrise. Absolutely amazing experience, you know, koala bears, and we've been all around the States. We've done all sorts of things. We've been very, very, very lucky, but we've worked for it. And so where's our retirement going now? Is our retirement going to all of a sudden stop? Absolutely not. As long as we've got our health, we're going to continue to do what we really love doing, which is travelling and teaching and training people that there is another way of having a retirement, to the extent that we've actually written a book about it, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. But the thing is, that's what our retirement is going to be. We're going to continue working, if you like, but it's something we really love to do. So for us, it's not work. It's just great fun. And all the people we meet, we've now got, because of our online business, we've got friends literally all around the world who we can go and visit, who we go out with when we go to their country or when they come to our country. You know, when we meet up, we have a great time together. And that's what, I guess, for us, retirement is all about. It's about meeting people, helping people, and enjoying life's experiences. So my question for you is, what is your retirement like, or looking like, or going to be like? Because it depends on how old you are as you're watching this video. But what I do want to say to you is make sure that you do something you really love, you really enjoy, and that you've got the choice to do it. You know, because retirement nowadays is very different. We've still got all those experiences we want to have. We've still got challenges that we want to overcome. We've got great new ideas. You know, people are starting businesses in their 50s and 60s and even 70s. And to me, that's absolutely amazing, because you have to remember now, retirement at 65 doesn't mean that you're only going to live for a couple of years, hopefully. It means you're going to live for another 25, 30 years. And that's the time scale that you're really going to enjoy yourself, because that's what we wanted to do. To us, it's retirement, if you like, is all about enjoyment. We've probably been unofficially retired for, I don't know, probably 6 or 7 years now, I guess, doing the thing we really love, and it's going to continue. So I really want you to think about what your retirement is going to be. What's it going to be like when you reach 65? What are you going to feel like? What are you going to be doing? And what are the things that you really want to do? So that's all I wanted to share with you, really, what it feels like to be 65 years old. Now, one of the things, the book that I mentioned earlier on, Susan and I we've written a book which we've been writing it probably for about the last 6-9 months, and if you'd like a copy of it, it's called The Retirement Income Conspiracy. Okay, it's a great little book. It's online, so we'll be able to send it to you electronically. But if you like a copy, just leave a note below this video somewhere. Yeah, I'd like a copy. You could, in actual fact, say you could say, Vincent, can I have a copy of the book, please? Because he'll send it to you, and that's about it. So if you've enjoyed this video, I really do want to know what your thoughts about your retirement are going to be. So great, leave some comments below, and we look forward to talking to you again soon. Bye for now.